And when, Angie, we've been waiting a long time hoping you were going to say just this. When did it start?
Guys, one of my favorite things is when I get to give good news when it comes to the weather. So often I'm giving you bad news. We've got good news, though, when it comes to a warm-up on the way. I know we've had brutal temperatures for such an extended period, and this is just one sign. These are the only frost and freeze alerts that we have up at this time, and it's basically centered across portions of southern Georgia and northern Florida. That's it. And here's why. Our temperatures still are on the chilly side, especially for our friends in the south. We've got temperatures into the 30s in Atlanta, 27 degrees for Montgomery, but feeling like 20 degrees. Even as far south as New Orleans, you're waking up into the 40s and feeling like 44 degrees. Mobile into the 30s. So you get the picture. It's still chilly in a good chunk of the country, but this is just the start of that warming trend that you're going to see. And you can already notice that our friends in parts of the northern plains that we're seeing single-digit temperatures and feels like values well below zero. We're talking 30, 40 degrees below zero last week. Well, they're now looking at warmer than normal temperatures. We're still going to see temps into the mid-40s for Houston and Little Rock and Charlotte today. So not the warmest by any means, but the trend is starting, and it really ramps up here as we get through the weekend. Here's a look at tomorrow. 50s for Kansas City. Chicago, you're going to see temperatures into those low 40s. Denver at 61 degrees. Notice Odessa heading back to the 70s. And that's just one spot that's going to see the 70s here as we roll into our next work week. Notice what happens in Little Rock, 71 on Tuesday and Wednesday. That sure feels like spring for these folks in Lexington too. 60 degrees by Wednesday. Chicago, you end up into those upper 40s and kind of hang out into the mid 40s. Our friends in New York City, 53 degrees rather on Tuesday. We've got the low 50s on Wednesday. And even places like Birmingham, again in Charlotte, you're going to see temperatures well into the 70s. Guys, it's just a little taste of spring after the very brutal week of winter weather that we've had across the country.
A little something to look forward to. Angie, thank you.
We'll take it. All right, look at the forecast. What you got?
I got some good news. Again, guys, we've got mainly quiet conditions across the country. Big picture look of your satellite and radar. You can see a little bit of cloud cover across the northeast and some for the Midwest, but plenty of sunshine expected for folks closer to the coast in the southeast. We do have a couple of trouble spots. It's going to be the Gulf Coast, where we could see a little bit of rain ramping up here, especially as we get into tomorrow. That starting already this morning with a little bit of that freezing rain and some showers from Houston to basically parts of eastern Louisiana. Out west, we've got another atmospheric river event that's taking shape. So that's going to leave us with a couple of spots of rain. It is going to be the potential for heavy rain as well. So close to the coast, you could see some flooding for our friends in Oregon and Washington. Otherwise, warmer conditions. Yes, we're finally starting to see that improvement in our temperatures. So we've got some 30s across parts of the Great Lakes, Tennessee Valley, 40s and 30s, kind of a mix there. Plenty of sunshine for our friends in the Northeast today. I know it's still chilly in some spots, but you'll be able to get out there and enjoy some sunshine, and then dealing with some of those showers across parts of the Gulf Coast. Tomorrow, the rain ramps up for the Gulf. That's where we'll see basically the potential for a little flooding, specifically across parts of Louisiana, stretching into the panhandle of Florida. The cold easing even more. Notice these temperatures, 50s now. We're starting to see those rise, and we've got a whole lot of sunshine expected for our friends in the northern plains who have just been dealing with brutal conditions for mainly the entirety of this week. We'll see some better conditions for them there, and of course, plenty of sunshine for the southwest. We do have that flood risk that'll last for the Pacific Northwest well into your Sunday. Let's look at the weather across the country. Let's see what's happening in your neighborhood. And that's a look at your forecast, guys.
All right, Angie, thank you. Still to come here, the man accused of killing that top...
Angie joins us now as we pivot to talk about the forecast heading into this weekend. What are you seeing?
Guys, I got something you don't see all that often in Texas. We've got a winter weather advisory this morning. Austin, San Antonio included in this, and here's why. We've got the potential to see some icing on the roadways, so if you're heading out early this morning, note that it could be a little difficult. You might need a little extra time. Remember, temperatures have been chilly across Texas, so it's no surprise that some of this precipitation that's coming in from the Gulf is falling as freezing rain. Again, the icing on the roadways is going to be something you have to deal with. We've also got some rain elsewhere, basically from New Orleans to Houston and up to Alexandria. Some showers are working through. We've got some of that in Corpus Christi as well. And this is part of a system that's going to kind of spread rain over this region here as we get through the weekend, specifically really ramping up for tomorrow. But today, some isolated thunderstorms are possible in this. Otherwise, it's Texas and Louisiana that gets the bulk of that rain. Look what happens, though, by tomorrow. We get a whole lot more of this moisture coming up from the Gulf, and that means that heavy rain is going to be possible from Louisiana essentially to the Florida Panhandle. We'll see the potential for some flooding across this region. Most of the heavy rain is going to stay out over the Gulf, but by the time we get through at least Monday, we could see potentially 1 inch or 2 inches of rain closer to the coast. Again, for Louisiana is where we're going to see those best chances for some flooding, so heads up through the weekend and into our next work week there. Let's look at the weather across the country. Let's see what's happening in your neighborhood. And that's a look at your forecast, guys.
Angie, thanks so much. But you broke out a parka and you went on the road with another story coming up for us.
I did. I'm pulling double duty today. Just ahead, I'll take you to Colorado, where there are some very special...
We are back this Saturday morning with our series In Depth today and a look at how dangerous winter weather can be, especially in the mountains out west.
Yeah, 4 people died this week alone in avalanches from Colorado to California, but rescuers have some very special workers by their sides, dogs who are being trained to find people buried in snow.
And Angie, you had a chance to see it firsthand recently, right?
I sure did, guys. And climate change is leading to an increase of weather emergencies, but dogs, especially those who love the snow, are uniquely positioned to find trapped people.
Here you go.
For almost 100 years, man's best friend has been keeping us safe on the slopes and in the snow. Now, with avalanche risk escalating worldwide, these search and rescue dogs are more important than ever. Climate change is causing winter to become the fastest warming season across the U.S., with higher temperatures leading to growing avalanche risks in the West. When the temperatures rise, snow layers become slushy, and the layers unstable, with the potential to slide. The highest avalanche risk in the U.S. is in the western mountain ranges, with the largest number of avalanche fatalities in Colorado. And that's where these pups come in, as search and rescue dogs trained to help in avalanche emergencies. Nate Birdseye picked up his dog, Mud, 2 years ago and immediately started her training.
The right handler and the right dog make up a team, and that team is what's going to be deployed in the event of an avalanche.
Both the dogs and handlers must go through multiple certifications that assess their ability and performance to see how they respond in emergencies, a process that can take 2 to 3 years. So with all the technology that we have, why are dogs so crucial in this role?
A lot of people aren't using the technology of beacons, shovel, probe. The dogs, they have their nose, which is their beacon, and they have the ability to follow scent to somebody who's been buried by an avalanche.
A built-in beacon.
If we get to somebody within 15 minutes, their chance of survival is 90% and above.
Training tasks start small, but eventually build to finding someone completely covered in the snow. So what are we going to do today?
I believe you're going to be buried.
So I've heard.
Okay.
With Mud back at headquarters a 5-minute snowmobile ride away, I crawled into a snow cave made by Ski Patrol. Am I ready?
Yep.
Okay. Any last advice?
Nope.
Okay, great. I'm ready. Oh boy. Bye. The entrance blocked with more snow.
Honestly, I'm not claustrophobic, but I am very cold. And now I just am waiting for the avalanche dog Mud to come find me.
Mud, find it. Good girl, Mud.
Life-saving actions from man's best friend.
Yes, Mud! Good girl!
Angie, that's incredible.
Wow.
It was so fascinating. I mean, one thing to know is these dogs are also family pets. I mean, their handlers are also their owners, so they are ingrained in, doing regular dog stuff, but then they have this really rigorous training that sets them up to save lives.
Were you scared?
Yeah.
I was scared.
I am a bit claustrophobic, I've got to be honest. I was in there for about 12 minutes before Mud found me.
Wow.
And it was small, but I was okay. It was just very, very cold.
Well, what's striking about that is you realize in an avalanche, minutes matter.
Yeah.
Seconds matter there. You said 15 minutes. It goes down precipitously after that. That's why you rely on dogs like Mud to help save
Exactly.
lives.
And one thing is, obviously, when I was in the cave, my face isn't covered by snow. I'm not upside down. Some of that can, of course, happen when you're skiing down a slope and an avalanche happens out of nowhere. So one thing to note.
Wow.
That was a heck of a story, Angie. Thanks for sharing it with
course.
us. We got a little pop star coming up. Joe, what do you know?
Yeah, still to come, a 90s rock show to remember. We're going to...
We are back with your pop star. What you got, Joe?
A packed pop star. The SAG Awards. All right. Next up, who's going to Wisconsin
Now
with me?
I understand why you said that song was going to be in my head all morning.
Look at this photograph.
Exactly. You're wishing for Boys to Men again, aren't you?
I know there's someone out there that's like, finally, justice for Nickelback and Creed.
25 years later. All right, finally.
Aaron, I'm sorry for what they've done to you.
Please do not come at us.
Spring
We did
training.
nothing to do with that.
Yeah, you can text the graphics department for issues with that photo. Joe, thank you. Appreciate it. Still to come right here, our Saturday morning boost in the video that'll have you.
The head Come on. Give us the good news.
Listen, it's my kind of Saturday too, because I've got good news instead of bad news when it comes to the weather. We've of course been dealing with these brutally cold temperatures for most of the country, especially east of the Rockies. We're going to start to get a bit of a break from that as we get through the weekend and into next week. Right now, though, still a little chilly. Atlanta waking up to 32 degrees. Mobile, you're into the 30s as well. New Orleans feeling like 44 degrees for your wind chill there. We're going to see these temperatures start to increase and get kind of back to normal for a lot of spots. Specifically, parts of the northern plains, they were brutally cold this week. Now we're running above normal. And that's just the trend that's going to start to spread east here as we get through today and into tomorrow. Meanwhile, we've got Little Rock headed to the 40s today. Houston as well, 46 degrees. So still below normal east of basically the Midwest. But look what happens. We start to see all of that warmth spreading. Kansas City tomorrow, 50 degrees. We've got low 60s for Oklahoma City. Odessa, 70 degrees. I'm looking at Tucson, 80 degrees today. It's going to be, or tomorrow rather, it's going to be feeling really, really nice and a welcome relief. Little Rock by Tuesday and Wednesday ends up into the 70s. Chicago, you will return to the 40s as well. We've got 50s for Omaha. New York City, we end up on Tuesday at 53 degrees. That's looking great for me. Tuesday, we end up at 70 degrees in Charlotte. So overall, some really mild and very spring-like temperatures that we all deserve at this point, guys.
We'll take what we can get. Angie, thank you.
Also this morning.
Hi, guys. I got a whole lot of sunshine in the forecast today. Good news there. We've got plenty of sunshine for the northeast. This is going to extend down to the southeast. You'll notice we do have a couple of showers that'll be right along the Gulf Coast, leaving us with some kind of wet weather for your Saturday and potentially Sunday plans. The warmer temperatures will settle in specifically for parts of the northern plains. You'll really notice that jump in temperatures today with 40s and 50s in some of these spots that we're dealing with brutally cold temperatures. Last week, we've got high 70s across parts of the southwest and some heavy rain working in from our next atmospheric river event that's kind of taking shape for the Pacific Northwest. That's where we have a flood risk again for tomorrow. So heads up there. We'll see some rain and mountain snow for our friends there. And then more of that rain across the Gulf. This is really one of the only trouble spots. Otherwise, it's pretty good news across the board for Sunday. That cold is going to ease. We've got a whole lot of sunshine. March is in just 1 week. We look to see what that means. It looks like we'll have warmer than normal temperatures across the south as we roll into the next month. Let's look at the weather across the country. Let's see what's happening in your neighborhood. And that's a look at your forecast, guys.
All right, Angie, thank you so much. Still ahead, the skier who is 96 years.
We are back this Saturday morning with a story you are just going to love.
This one proving once again that age is truly just a number.
And that's because one 96-year-old who was born before chairlifts were even invented is spending his winter out on the slopes.
Boyd Hoopert from our affiliate KARE KARE 11 in Minneapolis has his story from Welch, Minnesota. I love that he's the last one off the hill on top of everything else.
They got to drag him out of there.
Exactly. He loves it so much.
That's what keeps you young, though, right? When you do your passions, you keep on going. I love it.
That
Keep
guy's got a
moving.
great story to tell. Alex, we're so glad you're doing so well after all these years. We're going to be right back. That is going to do it for us on a Saturday morning. The good news is some warm weather on the way.
Warm. Let's put that in air quotes. Warm. Yes, 40s, 50s. We got it.
Take it.
That sounds like a heat wave. We'll take it this week for sure.
Whatever we can get at this point.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Enjoy.